After I left the country, my missing person posters were plastered across the globe, with a reward reaching $1 million. My phone was blowing up with calls and texts from friends and family, all of them begging me to come home. It was all because that cold, proud woman, Chloe, had completely lost her mind. But I just calmly posted on Facebook, "Leveled up to dad. The rest of my life is for you and our little one." The photo was of my wife and me in a private delivery room holding our beautiful baby. I knew Chloe would have a complete breakdown when she saw it. That was the Chloe I once knew just because I glanced at a woman with long legs on the beach. She had dragged me back to the presidential suite with a furious expression, refusing to let me leave for 7 whole days. 7 days later, the strawberry lube was gone and the bed frame had collapsed. She had curled up in my arms, her eyes red with vulnerability, whispering, "Honey, I have everything they have. Please don't look at anyone else. Please don't leave me." I had to reassure her for what felt like an eternity before her jealousy finally subsided. After that day, I never dared to let my eyes linger on anyone else. And yet, this was the same Chloe, the one who supposedly loved me so much, who went behind my back with someone else. And not just anyone, but her best friend's younger brother. The guy was a notorious player, a total flirt. And while she had always prided herself on her principles, she couldn't resist his pull. Time and again, she gave in until she played with fire and ended up pregnant with his child. She kept it a perfect secret with her best friend and even her parents helping to cover for her. But I found out anyway. When I learned the truth, I didn't cry or cause a scene. I simply picked up the phone and made a call. "Professor Sullivan, it's Ethan. I made my decision. I want to join your pharmaceutical research institute and continue my work." Professor Sullivan chuckled on the other end. "Your wife loves you so much, Ethan. Do you really think she'll let you move abroad for your research?" I replied slowly, "This is my decision. It has nothing to do with her." "All right, then. When can you be here?" "1 week." "Excellent. I'll be waiting for you. By the way, Professor Sullivan, that memory-erasing drug you were developing, are you still looking for a test subject?" The professor's voice turned serious. "What are you implying, Ethan? Please mail a dose to me. I'll be your subject." After I hung up my phone, buzzed with a new iMessage. It was from Leo. He sent a picture of an ultrasound report. The text was clear. "Embryo at 4 weeks. Signs of a threatened miscarriage." Leo's next message came through immediately. "Ethan, my man, Chloe is pregnant with my child. We had a bit of a rough fight in the car the other day, so the doctor said there was a risk. But don't worry, I'm taking her to make sure everything's okay. The doctor says the baby feels safe when its dad is around. He's healthy now, nestled safely in Chloe's womb, ready to arrive in 8 months." He sent another. "Was that you in the taxi that just drove by? I know you can't handle a cheating wife, so just give her to me. I don't want my kid to be born illegitimate." I replied with only 3 words. "As you wish." As I was getting close to the house, a call came in from Chloe. "Honey, are you home safe?" I just grunted in response. "Yeah, I'm here." "Oh, good. That's a relief." Chloe said, "Hey, I have to tell you something. I have to go on a last-minute business trip. It'll be about 3 days." I cut her off. "Fine, go." Chloe hesitated. "Honey, are you mad?" "You know what? Forget it. I won't go. I'll come home right now." I could hear a man's dissatisfied grunt in the background. It had to be Leo. He wasn't about to give up their promised trip to the Bahamas so easily. "I'm not mad," I said flatly. "Just go." Her voice brightened instantly. "Really? I'll only be gone for 3 days. I promise. I'll be back right in time for my birthday. I want to spend it with you." I gave a slight, empty laugh. "We'll see." She pressed on. "Honey, promise me you'll wait for me, okay? Just stay home and be good. Don't go anywhere. If I come back and you're not here, I'll go insane." What happened last time really terrified me. I hung up on her. How could she say she loved me while sleeping with another man? I just couldn't understand it. The phone rang again, but it wasn't Chloe this time. It was a crier. I signed for the package. Inside was a small vial, the memory-erasing drug. The package included a clinical printout. It stated that once consumed, the subject would forget their entire past with no possibility of memory retrieval. Used with extreme caution, I slept soundly that night. The next morning, I had someone from Goodwill come by and donated every piece of clothing I owned. I gathered my personal belongings, every gift Chloe had ever given me, every letter she'd ever written, and took them to a local crematorium. I paid the attendant a handsome sum to burn it all to ash. A message from Leo arrived right on schedule. The Bahamas are amazing. Thanks, Ethan. If it weren't for you, I never would have met Chloe. I'd never get to vacation in a place like this without her. He also sent a flood of pictures, all of them featuring Chloe. Chloe rubbing sunscreen on his back. Chloe grilling lobster for him. Chloe, with her arms around him, kissing him. I didn't even bother to open the full images. I just turned off my phone and focused on my final preparations. On the second day of Chloe's trip, I went to the bank. I liquidated every account, under the name Ethan Miller, taking it all out in cash. I had it converted to British pounds and then closed every single account. Afterwards, I went to the records office and had my public files wiped. I left my phone off all day. The moment I got home and powered it on, a new wave of messages from Leo flooded in. The new mom is already researching early childhood education and baby food recipes. She's going to be such a great mother. Ethan, thank you so much for giving her to me. The accompanying photo was of Chloe sitting at a desk, intently reading a book and highlighting passages with a pen. If the title hadn't been a guide to prenatal development, you would have thought she was studying financial reports or an academic journal. Next to her was a tall stack of other books. Essential Care. During pregnancy, Preventing Postpartum Depression. Get your body back in 30 days. Chloe wasn't just focused on the baby anymore. Without even realizing it, Leo was starting to worm his way into her heart. Once the body has betrayed you, the heart is sure to follow. It's only a matter of time. A dark thought crossed my mind. When Chloe comes home and finds me gone, will she panic like she did last time? Will she raise hell, call the police, hire private investigators, or will she not even care, assuming I just stepped out for a bit and will be back soon? Or maybe by then her heart will only have room for her child and its biological father, and the space she once saved for me will shrink until nothing is left at all. I pushed the thoughts away. I had already decided to leave. Whether she felt regret was no longer my concern. I only knew one thing for certain. I would never regret leaving her, and I would never regret forgetting her. On my last day, I slept for a solid 12 hours. I woke up feeling refreshed and full of life. Looking at my reflection in the mirror, I gave myself a wide, genuine smile. I walked out the door without any luggage. My possessions were already gone, either donated or turned to ash. All I carried was a small messenger bag. Inside was a driver's license, passport, and visa for Wyatt Cole, a one-way ticket to London, and a small vial of memory-erasing drug. The only thing left that connected me to Ethan Miller was the phone in my hand. I used the phone one last time to call a car to the airport. When it was time to pay, I transferred the entire remaining balance of my account to the driver. I got out of the car and started walking. The driver scrambled out after me. "Sir, you made a mistake. The fare was only $130. You sent me $13,000. I smiled at him. "Keep it. Thank you for the ride." The driver looked terrified. "Sir, I can't. I only need the fare for driving you here. I really can't take this much." I looked him straight in the eye. "You didn't just bring me to an airport. You brought me to the start of my new life." After bidding the driver farewell, I popped out the SIM card, snapped it in half, and tossed it into a trash can along with the phone itself. And just like that, the very last tie to Ethan Miller was severed. I asked an airline agent for a pen and paper and wrote a letter to myself. "Wyatt, when you read this, your life is beginning again. Don't get caught up in the past, and don't try to figure out who you used to be. Trust me, and just keep moving forward. You have everything you need to build a brilliant life for yourself. And never again believe a woman when she says she'll love only you forever. People change. No one can keep that promise. The only person you can ever truly rely on is yourself. So love yourself. Once I finished, I folded the note and placed it in the inside pocket of my jacket somewhere. I would be sure to find it as soon as I was aware of myself again. The final boarding call echoed through the terminal. Passenger Wyatt Cole, your flight is now ready for departure. Please proceed immediately to gate H25. I took the small vial from my bag and downed its contents in one gulp. The liquid was bitter, but to me it tasted like freedom. Without a single look back, I walked onto the plane. Chloe landed back in New York on the afternoon before her birthday. As they had planned, she was supposed to go home to celebrate with me. The tiny voice of the airport PA system made another annoying announcement. Passenger Wyatt Cole, please proceed to your boarding gate immediately. Wyatt Cole. Chloe didn't recognize the name, but something about it felt wrong, like a sudden hollow space had opened up in her chest. An inexplicable emptiness washed over her. She glanced toward the gate and saw a familiar silhouette hurrying away. Her eyes narrowed, and she instinctively started to follow. But after a single step, Leo's voice stopped her. Leo appeared at her side, holding a hot coffee, his voice full of affection. Your favorite mocha. I got it for you. He noticed her strange expression and asked with concern. Where are you going just now? Are you feeling okay? He reached out to feel her forehead, but she shifted away before he could touch her, replying coolly, It's nothing. Chloe stood there in the crowded airport terminal, a handsome young man doing on her. It was a life many would envy. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. It felt as if something precious had been stolen from her when she wasn't looking. When she didn't respond, Leo draped an arm over her shoulder, trying to pull her into an embrace. You have to go back to Ethan tonight anyway, so why don't we celebrate a little early? He whispered, the last part right next to her ear. Normally, Chloe wouldn't have pushed him away, but today she was in no mood for it. She stood up abruptly. I need to go home, Leo wed, grabbing the hem of her jacket. But you're going home tonight anyway. What's the hurry? Besides, you're spending your birthday with him tomorrow. Today, I'm not sharing you with anyone else. The casual way he referred to Ethan struck a nerve. Chloe's expression hardened. She turned and gave him a look of such severity that it made his blood run cold. He immediately softened his tone, trying to sound endearing. Chloe, before he could finish, she cut him off with a voice like ice. Leo, I have warned you before. You need to understand your place. Ethan is the love of my life. No one can ever replace him in my heart. Without another word, she turned and walked out of the airport lounge, leaving Leo standing. They're completely stunned. Chloe drove home as fast as she could. But when she walked through the front door, all she saw were the housekeepers going about their duties. She frowned. Where is Mr. Miller? Where is Ethan? The staff just looked at each other, their faces blank with confusion. A flare of irritation rose in her chest. What exactly do you people do all day? You don't even know where he is. Everything in the house was in its proper place, but as Chloe scanned the rooms, she couldn't find any sign of me. She pointed to one of the housekeepers. Where did he go? The woman hadn't seen me all day and could only guess. Perhaps Mr. Miller is resting in the bedroom. Chloe didn't waste another second on them. She hurried up the stairs to our bedroom. The moment she pushed the door open, hope in her chest vanished. The room was empty. There was no trace of me. A wave of disappointment washed over her confusion. After they married, my entire life had revolved around her. I'd even lost touch with most of my old friends. Her eyes scanned the room until they landed on an envelope resting on the nightstand. My handwriting was on the envelope for Chloe. They had been together for so many years. What could possibly need to be said in a letter that couldn't be said to her face? Confused, Chloe opened the letter. She stared at the page, frozen as if the words were in a foreign language. It took a long moment for their meaning to sink in. I know everything you've been hiding. You don't have to worry about how to break it to me anymore because I'm stepping aside to let you two be together. I'm gone. We will never see each other again. With just a few short sentences, our years together were brought to an end. Chloe clutched the letter, her eyes darting back and forth over the words until the paper was crumpled in her fist. She shot to her feet, shouting my name as she began to search the house frantically. "Ethan, stop playing games. I can explain everything." She thought this was just some cruel joke meant to scare her. But after searching every single room, she couldn't find a single trace of me. My clothes were still hanging in the closet. Chloe couldn't believe it. Someone who was truly leaving wouldn't just leave everything behind. She rushed to the garden in the backyard. Then, finding it empty, ran all the way up to the rooftop terrace, thinking I might be waiting for her there. But the rooftop sunroom was empty except for the porch swing we had picked out together. Chloe sank onto the swing, pushing off gently with her toes. She tilted her head back and looked up at the sky as if trying to recapture the feeling of the nights we had spent up there, stargazing together. A single tear escaped and traced a path down her cheek. Chloe finally understood this wasn't a joke. It wasn't a scare tactic. I had truly left her, and I was never coming back. She refused to let that happen. With trembling hands, Chloe pulled out her phone and called the number of my best friend. He didn't pick up. She called again and a third time, until he finally answered with clear annoyance in his voice. "What is it?" "I'm looking for Ethan," she said. My friend's reply was sharp. "Why are you calling me? You're his wife. How can you not know where he is?" Chloe's voice was small. "I can't find him. Do you have any idea where he could have gone?" "No idea," he said, and then hung up, his tone leaving no room for further conversation. Chloe tried calling back, only to find he had already blocked her number. Left with no other choice, she started going through her contacts, calling anyone who might know me, even old college acquaintances she'd only met a handful of times. After they got married, their lives had drifted apart. She realized she no longer even knew who my friend were. She called person after person, but the answer was always the same. I don't know. If she pushed for more information, the polite ones would patiently explain they couldn't help, while the less patient ones would just get angry with her. One old acquaintance was particularly blunt. "At your wedding, you swore you'd love him forever. Now he's gone. Don't you think you should be asking yourself why?" A chill went down Chloe's spine. "What do you know?" "You know exactly what you did," the person said before hanging up. "Did you really think Ethan was so stupid he wouldn't find out? Figure out yourself." They knew. They knew more than she had imagined. The more she thought about it, the more terrified she became. A horrifying idea began to form in her mind. I had left so abruptly, taking nothing with me. Was it because I thought I would no longer have any use for worldly possessions? Chloe couldn't bear to entertain the thought. Frantic, desperate to reach me and make sure I wasn't struggling, she opened her banking app. She began transferring huge sums of money into my account, adding the same note to every transaction. "Where are you?" She transferred payment after payment, not caring about the amounts. Money was the one thing she had in abundance. All she wanted was for me to come back, but her hope was shattered by a phone call from a bank representative. "Ms. Anderson, we're calling to inform you that the transfers you initiated have failed. The destination account was closed 3 days ago. The fund will be returned to your account within 2 hours." The representative continued with polite apologies, but Chloe didn't hear any of it. She just kept asking, "Is there any way for you to contact him?" The answer, of course, was no. She hung up and started downloading the social media apps she remembered seeing on my phone. She knew I used to post my photography online. Back when things were good, she would always like and comment on my posts. But at some point, all of that had stopped. I was old-fashioned with my online presence. My username on every platform was Sunshower, and my profile pictures were always photos I had taken. But when Chloe typed that name into the search bar, all she found were unrelated accounts or the message "user not found." The conclusion was obvious. I hadn't just closed my bank accounts. I had deleted my entire online presence. A wave of despair deeper than any she had ever known washed over Chloe. This wasn't just about leaving her. This was about erasing every good memory they had ever shared. Unwilling to accept this, she scoured the terms of service for different platforms, looking for a loophole. She found a smaller site with a vague privacy policy and called their support line. She got straight to the point. My name is Chloe Anderson. I'm the wife of the user, Sunshower. He's missing and I believe he's in danger. I need you to restore his account data. The support agent was polite but firm. Ma'am, account data is private information. Only the user themselves can reverse a deletion request. Chloe's voice rose with agitation. I'm his wife. We're family. Doesn't that count for anything? That only proves you are legally married, ma'am. Not that you are. Acting on his behalf, the agent replied. Aren't you afraid he'll sue you? Chloe snapped, resorting to threats. He's run away from home, and he left without a word. If you ignore my request and something happens to him, I will hold your company legally responsible. The agent was unfazed. You're free to do so, ma'am. If you can provide us with a court order, we will of course have no reason to refuse. Realizing her threats were useless, Chloe's breath hitched. She let the raw fear and helplessness she felt take over, her voice trembling. Please, I'm begging you. Can't wait. I just need a clue. Anything. I'm so worried about him. She was on the verge of sobbing, and in a last-ditch effort to convince him, she rattled off her personal information. Anything to prove she was telling the truth. The agent finally relented, agreeing to escalate her request, but warned her it would take some time. Chloe waited, clutching her phone, refreshing the page over and over. When my profile finally reappeared, she felt a surge of life return to her. She immediately scrolled all the way to the bottom to my very first post. When I first made the account, I was still in college. I used the popular emoticons of the time to document my life. We're together, the first post read, accompanied by a picture of my hand holding Chloe's. We had just fallen in love back then. Just being together was enough to make us happy. Even doing nothing, just sitting next to each other and comfortable. Silence felt sweet. A faint smile touched Chloe's lips. She hadn't thought about those days in a very long time. Scrolling through these old posts felt like reliving every beautiful moment. A picture she took of me, the office we rented together. Her career is taking off. As of today, I'm her legal husband. Happy wedding day to us. The stars are so beautiful from here. This is our new home. I used to love sharing our life. Every sweet moment from our dating years. Every happy memory from our marriage. I documented it all with photos. As Chloe looked at them, the beautiful memories played out in her mind like scenes from a movie. But then, 6 months ago, the post stopped. It was as if I had lost all interest in the platform. No more life updates. No more photography. Nothing. A terrible premonition crept into Chloe's heart. She frantically scrolled through my profile, checking everything. Old profile pictures, accounts I'd interacted with. Finally, she found an edit history on an old post. It was a single word over. The edit was time-stamped from the previous night. Right after that, I had gone into the settings and requested the account be permanently deleted. I had buried a past I once cherished, apparently without a second thought. A sharp twisting pain seized Chloe's heart. She was in so much agony herself. She couldn't bear to imagine how I must have felt. But why those two specific times 6 months ago? And last night, the timing felt significant. She sat on the rooftop swing until dusk fell and then covering her face with her hands. The realization hit her. She let out a bitter, self-mocking laugh. 6 months ago, that was when she and Leo had started their affair. I had given her so many chances since then. Countless opportunities to come clean. She never took a single one. This time, I was truly gone for good. Chloe didn't go anywhere that night. She ignored Leo's calls and his suggestive texts. She ignored calls from business partners and friends. She didn't want to talk to anyone. She just lay in our bed on my side, trying to find some lingering warmth. But no matter how long she lay there, the sheets remained cold. I had left nothing of myself behind when I walked out of her world. Chloe tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Around midnight, her phone began to chime with automated birthday wishes from her bank and various retailers. It was only then that she remembered. Today was her birthday. Her eyes fell on the letter on The nightstand. She moved it aside and saw a small box underneath. I hadn't mentioned it in the letter, but a small, sticky note on the box told her it was my birthday gift for her. With a surge of excitement, Chloe opened the box, hoping to find some kind of clue inside. After all they had been through, surely there was still some kindness left. But before she could even finish the thought, the object inside shattered her hopes completely. It was a jewelry box, but there was no jewelry inside. There was only a small, misshapen lump of platinum. I had melted down my wedding ring. Chloe threw on some clothes and drove to the police station in the dead of night. My husband is missing, she told the officer on duty. I'm afraid he might have harmed himself. The officer looked at her skeptically. How long has he been missing? Ma'am, did he leave a note? Chloe shook her head. No. The officer sighed. Ma'am, please be honest with us. If your husband left anything at all, it could be very helpful in our search. We have a wonderful relationship. Chloe insisted. I called him so many times, but he won't pick up. She was convinced that our relationship meant everything to me, that I would sooner give up on life itself than give up on us. The officer offered a different perspective. Are you sure your husband isn't just trying to leave you, ma'am? Everything you're describing sounds like someone who's packed up and moved out. It's the 21st century. People don't usually end their lives over relationship problems. But Chloe wouldn't hear it. You don't understand, she insisted. We've been in love since college. He gave up everything to support my career. He doesn't even talk to his friends anymore. She sounded almost proud, as if she were boasting about how much I adored her. The officer held back a sarcastic remark and began the standard procedure with his colleagues. They worked through the night, but by the time a morning rush hour started, they had found nothing. It was as if I had either vanished in a thin air or was an expert at covering my tracks. Chloe had been up all night, and her eyes were bloodshot, but she showed no signs of leaving. Then a call came through from an unknown number. After a brief conversation, she rushed out of the station and sped off in her car. The call was from a woman identifying herself as a lawyer. She said she was representing me and needed to discuss an urgent matter with Chloe in person. She gave an address for her firm. Chloe didn't waste a second. She drove like a maniac, running countless red lights to get there as fast as humanly possible. The lawyer seemed surprised by her quick arrival. She led Chloe into her office and got straight to the point, handing her folder. It's a divorce agreement, the lawyer explained. Mr. Miller has already signed his portion. If you have no objections, Miss Anderson, all we need is your signature. Chloe didn't even reach for the papers. Her eyes darted around the office, as if expecting me to be hiding somewhere. The room was small. There was nowhere to hide. She stared hard at the lawyer. Where's my husband? Where is Ethan? I'm not talking to you. Whatever he's planning, he has to tell me to my face. Otherwise, what were all our years together for? Tell him to come out. The lawyer shrugged. Ms. Anderson, I must remind you that Mr. Miller has entrusted me with handling all matters related to this divorce. Any and all meetings will be with me. Furthermore, in this marriage, you are the party at fault. However, Mr. Miller is not interested in pursuing that for the sake of your past relationship. He is willing to part ways amicably. His share of the marital assets has been designated through our firm for donation to various charities. He also wishes for you to cease all attempts to find him. The lawyer relayed. My wishes. Chloe blinked, her voice full of disbelief. Is that all? He has nothing else to say to me. The lawyer thought for a moment, then shook her head. No, that was all. Chloe let out a cold laugh. She snatched the agreement from the lawyer's hand. But instead of reading it, she tore it into tiny pieces and threw them on the floor. Well, I have something to say to him. I'll give him any amount of money he wants. If he wants to build schools or fund scholarships, I'll do it. But I will never ever agree to a divorce. The lawyer glanced down at the confetti of paper on her floor, then walked back to her desk. Just as Chloe thought she might be calling me, the lawyer returned with a fresh copy of the agreement. Ms. Anderson, Mr. Miller predicted this. What did he say? Chloe asked. He said you wouldn't agree to the divorce easily and that you would almost certainly tear up the first copy. He instructed me to print several extras, so please, if you need to vent, feel free to tear up as many as you like. I can always print more. This time, the lawyer offered a pen along with the papers. All the fight seemed to drain out of Chloe. She backed away, leaning against the wall for support. I need to see him. Just tell me where he is, and I'll pay you handsomely. How about $10 million? The lawyer just smiled, and Chloe, assuming the offer was too low, quickly upped the ante. $50 million? That has to be enough. You could quit this firm and start your own. The lawyer waited patiently for Chloe to finish, then handed her a business card. Ms. Anderson, I genuinely do not know where Mr. Miller is. He would never entrust me with such sensitive information. Also, this is my firm. It turned out she was a named partner at the firm, a renowned divorce attorney. My choosing her was a clear sign that my decision was final. Chloe clutched the business card, feeling utterly defeated. Does he really want to leave me that badly? She asked. It doesn't matter. You can print 1,000 copies. I will not sign anything unless he comes here and tells me to my face that he wants a divorce. She believed that if we could just see each other, old feelings would resurface. She was sure that if we met face to face, she could win my forgiveness. After so many years together, she couldn't believe I could just let all go. The lawyer saw right through her. Ms. Anderson, why drag this out? She said, then calmly explained the law. After a legal separation period of 2 years, if the marriage is irretrievably broken, the court can grant a divorce by default. Your refusal now only means Mr. Miller has to wait 2 years. The outcome will be the same. The only difference is that by then things could get much uglier, and you might lose any chance of ending this with dignity. For a moment, Chloe faltered, but her resolve hardened. That's fine. That just means I have 2 years to find him. You can save your breath. They were at an impasse. The lawyer hadn't expected an easy resolution. She gave a slight shrug. I have other work to attend to now. You know where to find me when you made up your mind. Chloe didn't believe the lawyer had no way of contacting me, so she decided to stay put and wait her out. But her plan was quickly interrupted. Before long, the police called asking where she was. Worried they would drop my case if she told them about the lawyer, she was deliberately vague. I'm just taking care of some work business. The officer sounded annoyed. Fine. Well, can you come down to this location now? We've tracked Mr. Miller's phone signal to a specific spot. We need you to come and identify it. I'll be right there, Chloe exclaimed, her heart pounding with excitement. She thought she was about to see me again, but when she arrived at the coordinates, she found herself in the middle of a desolate, empty lot. There was nowhere for a person to hide. Horrific images from news stories she'd seen flashed through her mind, and her knees felt weak. Thankfully, an officer approached her before she could collapse. Ms. Anderson, I'm sorry. We only found this phone. It looks like it was just tossed out here. We haven't found any other clues, and the phone itself is dead. Can you confirm if this belongs to your husband? The trail had gone cold again. But for Chloe, at that moment, no news was good news. In the span of a single day, she had been on an emotional roller coaster that had brought her to the brink of a total breakdown. The officer had to ask her again before she could pull herself together enough to speak. Her voice was a raw whisper. Yes, that's his phone. When the officer managed to power it on with a portable charger and the screen lit up, she was so relieved she almost burst into tears. I must have assumed no one would ever find it because I hadn't wiped the data. Chloe knew I never used a passcode, and she easily unlocked it. The first thing she saw was a long list of missed call notifications highlighted in red. Almost every single one was from her, interspersed with only a couple of calls from the bank or a client. But it was the unread text messages that truly caught her attention. Deleting social media accounts was easy, but canceling a phone number was a hassle. So I had chosen the simpler option, just tossing the phone and the SIM card. It was that decision that gave Chloe the chance to finally learn the whole truth. Seeing the bolded, unread notifications, a sense of dread washed over her. She took a deep breath and finally found the courage to open the message thread. Her eyes widened in shock. The messages were from Leo. She had explicitly warned him, threatened him, even to never let me find out about his existence. She never imagined he would so blatantly defy her. The person in these text messages was nothing like the man she knew. The most recent message was from the day before, sent just minutes after she had stormed away from him at the airport. "Hey, Ethan. So, Chloe chose to go home to you. After all, I guess I can spare her for one night. She didn't really want to go, but she listened to me in the end. You're welcome." Chloe's vision blurred with rage as she scrolled up, each message making her feel sicker than the last. To her face, Leo had always been the sweet, obedient boy whose occasional possessiveness was just a sign of how much he loved her. No woman could resist that kind of devotion. She never dreamed that while professing his undying love for her, he was secretly taking intimate photos of them and sending them to me too. Tommy. A candid photo of her sleeping was the tamest of the bunch. The message history contained everything from photos of them kissing passionately to pictures of them tangled in bed sheets. The images were so explicit that a nearby officer who caught an accidental glimpse looked at her with open disgust, as if she were a criminal. "I didn't," Chloe whispered, not realizing she'd spoken aloud. The officer, realizing she was talking to him, physically took 2 steps away from her, making it clear he wanted no part in her personal drama. It was the first time in her life Chloe had ever been looked at with such contempt. Her head was spinning, fighting back a wave of nausea. She kept scrolling. "You got to know how to treat a woman, Ethan. Chloe's a career woman now. She needs a man who can give her emotional support. Look what she gave me. I heard she designed a ring for you, too. I wonder if it looks like mine. Not that it matters. I'm the only one in her heart now." The messages were pure provocation, a clear attempt to rub their affair in my face. I had never replied to a single one. Eventually, I'd stopped even opening them, but just imagining how I must have felt seeing those first few messages made Chloe tremble with rage. If she hadn't been holding the phone, her nails would have surely drawn blood from her palms. She handed the portable charger back to the female officer and left the empty lot without a word. On the drive, she called Leo. "I don't care where you are. Get to my house now." She had no desire to go to him. On the other end of the line, Leo put on his gentle, caring voice. "Really? You want me to come over? Is Ethan not home?" He didn't know the details of what had happened, but the thought of me being gone from the mansion he coveted filled his voice with an excitement he couldn't conceal. Chloe let out a cold, humorless laugh. "That's right, he's gone." She was laughing at Leo's pathetic ambition, but also at her own foolishness for being deceived by his gentle act for so long. She didn't know whether to be impressed by his acting or disgusted with her own poor judgment. Leo, completely oblivious to the ice in her voice, replied cheerfully, "Great, I'll be right over. It's your birthday today, too. Double the reason to celebrate." The sound of his voice filled Chloe with disgust. She hung up before he could say another word. It was a long drive from Leo's apartment to her mansion, but he still managed to arrive before she did. He must have been dreaming of this day for a long time. The moment Chloe walked through the door and saw him, she was filled with a burning rage. Leo was standing on the grand staircase, barking orders at the staff. I said, "Take down all the picture frames on the wall." "Are you deaf? What's the point of clearing the tables?" The frames on the wall held my photographs. Ones Chloe and I had chosen together to decorate our home. The ones on the tables were photos of the two of us. The proof of a love that had once been so strong was now just an eyesore to be removed. She shot him a look of pure ice. But Leo didn't notice. He was too busy playing the lord of the manor. "Get a move on. I'm not a pushover. If any of you slack off, I'll have Chloe fire every last one of you." One of the housekeepers protested, but Ms. Anderson never gave us these orders, and she and Mr. Miller are still married. Leo let out a shrill, mocking laugh. "Mr. Miller, he's just some loser nobody wants. From now on, I'm the man of his house. Instead of standing around gossiping, why don't you get rid of that ugly old rug?" The ugly old rug. He was referring to was a gift Chloe had given me years ago. She couldn't stand by and watch him desecrate her home for. Another second, she stepped forward, her voice ringing with authority. Stop what you're doing. Put everything back where it was. Then all of you get out. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable weight that cut through the room. The staff knew who signed their paychecks. They immediately abandoned Leo's orders, quickly restored the room to its original state, and then vanished from sight. In a vast, silent room, only she and Leo remained, staring at each other. Leo might not have had many talents, but he was an expert at reading a room. He scrambled down the stairs and rushed to Chloe's side, his voice soft and comforting. Chloe, I know you must be upset right now, but Ethan chose to leave. Chloe shot him a look that could freeze fire. Who gave you permission to say his name? Leo flinched, immediately shifting into his pitiful act. Okay, I won't say it if you don't want me to. It's your birthday, and I was hoping. Before he could finish his sentence, Chloe's hand shot out. She grabbed the collar of the silk shirt he was wearing, one of mine, and ripped it from his body, throwing the garment to the floor like a piece of trash. The look on Chloe's face was terrifying. While she had never treated him as an equal, she had never been this hostile before. A knot of dread formed in Leo's stomach. He knew he was in serious trouble. But what had he done wrong? He had always acted this way around her. Was it because he had tried to change the decor? If Ethan had been the one to ask for a divorce, it made sense that she would be angry. Leo took the opportunity to wrap his arms around her, his voice a plating murmur. Chloe, I'm sorry. Okay, I was just trying to help you redecorate. As he held her, his hand began to roam over her back, caressing her through her clothes, trying to use his usual tricks to smooth things over. It was a move that had never failed him before. But today, Chloe was not receptive. She shoved him away with surprising force, then brushed off her hands as if she had touched something filthy, her face a mask of pure disgust. Humiliated, Leo steadied himself against the sofa. What the hell is wrong with you today? I came here to be with you on your birthday. You're the one who called me. He cursed her silently. She summons him here only to treat him like this. She had to be insane. He heard Chloe hiss through clenched teeth. You shameless piece of trash. Leo's eyes welled with tears. I'm shameless. Fine, I'll leave. He turned to run upstairs and get dressed. Chloe grabbed his arm and yanked him back. You're not going anywhere until we've cleared this up. The real danger of the situation finally dawned on Leo. He began to tremble, his voice pleading. Did Ethan say something to you before he left? Whatever it was, I can explain. Leo was panicking, silently cursing my name. This was a huge miscalculation. That boring, self-righteous fool was supposed to just leave a divorce agreement and disappear. What had possessed him to actually tell her what had been going on, but on the outside he maintained his facade of a wounded victim, hoping to talk his way out of it. He met Chloe's gaze, and it was like looking into chips of ice. Do you remember? She asked, her voice devoid of all emotion. Well, I warned you about when we first started this. Leo nodded frantically. Yes, I remember. You said Ethan was the love of your life, and that we were just having fun. You told me to never ever let him see me. I swear I never went anywhere near him. Chloe saw right through his carefully chosen words. Then dare to swear it. Swear that you did exactly as I said, that you never harassed him, that you never sent him those disgusting messages. Go on. Swear that if you did any of those things, you'll spend the rest of your life poor and miserable, a complete failure. For Leo, that was a fate far worse than death. The entire point of everything he had done was to secure a life of wealth and luxury. What was the point if he ended up poor? Still, it was just an oath. If oaths actually worked, countless men would be struck by lightning at the altar every year, stealing himself. Leo shakily raised two fingers to swear. If I did any of those things, may I spend the rest of my life in poverty? He couldn't bring himself to finish the sentence. The mere thought of being poor made him feel faint. Chloe sneered. You can't even get through a simple oath. Do you really expect me to believe you? Then again, I suppose I have been an idiot, letting you play me for a fool for so long. Her voice rose with every word until she was screaming at him. It was over. It was really over. Leo knew that for Chloe to be this direct, she must have proof, forcing himself to look composed. He dropped to his knees on the very rug he had just insulted, his voice breaking. Chloe, please forgive me just this once. I only did it because I love you so much. Chloe laughed, as if he had told the funniest joke in the world. Love me? She sneered. Or do you love my money? I think we both know the answer to that. She had no time for his lies. She pulled out my phone, unlocked it, and shoved the screen in his face. You sent these, didn't you? The proof is right here. What do you have to say for yourself now? The sight of him made her sick to her stomach. But with me gone, she needed answers. Leo's first instinct was to grab the phone, but Chloe snatched it back before he could touch it. It was the last thing she had of me. Leo lunged for it, but came up empty. The color drained from his face. He opened his mouth to make an excuse, but no words came out. He had sent all those photos, all those messages. Even if he had deleted them from his own phone, it was useless if I hadn't deleted them from mine. He was sick with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have been so much more careful. Unwilling to lose everything he had worked for, he changed tactics. He lunged forward and grabbed the hem of her dress. Please, just forgive me this one time. Give me one more chance, and I'll prove I can be a good husband to you. I'll even help you handle the divorce scandal. He scrambled for any reason she might be angry, desperate to fix it, never once considering the simple truth that she truly loved me, and that losing me was destroying her. Shut up, Chloe snarled. My husband is Ethan Miller, and only Ethan Miller. A shameless creature like you has no right to even be in this house. Get out, Leo looked heartbroken. You can't do this to me after everything we've been through. I've worked so hard for you. Listening to his pathetic whining filled her with nothing but disgust. She shoved him away and without a backward glance pressed the intercom button for security. The head of security rushed in. Ms. Anderson, is everything all right? With her back still turned, Chloe waved a dismissive hand. Remove this person from my property and make sure he never sets foot here again. Chloe, Leo cried out in a pitiful voice. I'll never do it again. I swear. You're carrying my child for our baby's sake. Chloe's voice was like steel. I'm getting an abortion. The security guards only took orders from Chloe. When Leo tried to approach her again, two guards swiftly grabbed him by the arms and dragged him out of the house. They threw him onto the driveway and slammed the heavy iron gates shut. The mansion was in an exclusive neighborhood, but even on a weekday, people were out for walks or running errands. The commotion of a half-naked Leo being thrown out of the house quickly drew a crowd of onlookers. People started pointing and whispering about the public spectacle. He must be the other man. Looks like the husband. Found out so shameless. The humiliating comments reached Leo's ears, and he wished the ground would swallow him whole. He screamed Chloe's name until his voice was raw, but she never appeared. Finally, a bystander who couldn't take it anymore walked up to him. You should probably stop. You're making a fool of yourself. It's pathetic. Unable to get Chloe's attention, Leo turned his rage on the bystander. I'm going to be a very important person one day. You'll regret crossing me. The crowd now looked at him, not just with scorn, but with the distinct impression that he was mentally unstable. The bystander just laughed. An important person. Yeah, right? Keep dreaming, buddy. Leo was left speechless. That evening, Chloe got a call from one of the major shareholders in her company. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. Chloe, what the hell is going on? This scandal is everywhere. Chloe slumped on the sofa, replied, without a trace of concern. Don't call me about work. I don't care anymore. The shareholder was furious. You don't care. The scene at your house is all over the internet. Our stock is going to tank when the market opens tomorrow. It was only then that Chloe understood. The scene with the half-naked Leo had been filmed by bystanders and posted online. Someone had recognized her mansion and tagged her company's official Twitter account. The entire industry was watching the drama unfold, and clients were calling nonstop. Chloe listened to all of this with a profound indifference, as if the company had nothing to do with her. After hanging up, she summoned the head of her security detail, the one who handled her sensitive affairs. "Find Leo," she commanded. "Bring him to me." Around midnight, they brought a disheveled Leo before her. "Ms. Anderson, he wasn't at his apartment. He said he got chased by some stray dogs and ended up lost on the outskirts of the city." Leo was still shaken, wrapped in some tattered cloth. He'd found somewhere. He trembled as he pleaded with her. "Chloe, you changed your mind, didn't you? I meant everything I said before. Just give me one more chance." He saw Chloe rise and walk toward him, and a flicker of hope appeared in his eyes. But before he could speak, she looked down on him with utter contempt. "I've been thinking. Letting you just walk away would be getting off too easy. You are the reason Ethan left me. I can't let that go unpunished. You'll pay a price. You always wanted to change your life, didn't you? Well, I'm going to help you." She turned to her men. "Take him to a plastic surgeon, a discreet one. I want his face ruined." Leo's pretty face was his only asset. He scrambled backward in terror, desperately trying to find an excuse. "You can't do this to me. I'm the father of your child." Chloe just laughed, a cold, empty sound. She didn't believe a word of it. She gave her men a sharp nod, a silent order to proceed. "You're insane," Leo screamed. "This is illegal." But she was completely consumed by thoughts of me. Nothing else mattered. She looked down at Leo one last time. "You had better pray that Ethan is safe," she said, her voice chillingly calm. "Because if he's not, this is only the beginning." Leo was shoved into a black car, and he pounded desperately on the windows. One of the men pressed a cloth soaked in chloroform over his face. Under the cover of darkness, the car sped away towards the city's industrial outskirts. Chloe sat alone on the sofa for a long time, pouring herself drink after drink. But instead of numbing the pain, the alcohol only made her mind sharper. What was the point of punishing Leo? She knew the person I must hate most in the world was her. Her head of security knocked for a long time before cautiously entering the room. "Ms. Anderson," he reported quietly. "The police just called. They said there's been a development." Chloe shot up, her voice filled with desperate hope. "Did they find him? Did they find Ethan?" The man handed her the phone she had discarded. "They said they saw someone on the airport security footage who looks exactly like Mr. Miller, but he was traveling under a different name. Wyatt Cole." The name sounded vaguely familiar to her. "Where'd he go?" "The United Kingdom." Chloe shot to her feet and ran for the door. "Book me a ticket on the next flight to London." By that afternoon, she was on her way. After a grueling 10-hour flight, she landed at the same airport I had. Every second on the plane had felt like an eternity. The moment she cleared customs, she went straight to the local police. Believing I might be a danger to myself, they launched an immediate search. And after exhausting all their resources, they finally located the apartment I had rented upon arrival. Chloe knocked on the door, her heart filled with hope. She was sure that when I saw how distraught she was, my heart would soften and I would agree to come home with her. But when the door opened, it was an impeccably dressed elderly gentleman who greeted her. He looked at her wearily. "Are you here about the flat?" "I'm the landlord." "No," Chloe said. "I'm looking for Wyatt Cole. I'm his wife. I'll come and take him home." The landlord's reply was curt. "I'm sorry. He checked out 3 days ago." Chloe was stunned. "That's impossible. He would have only just arrived then. Where did he go?" She opened her purse and pulled out a wad of cash, trying to bribe him for information. The old man just rolled his eyes. "That's his business, isn't it? What's it to you?" Desperate, Chloe decided to plead for sympathy. "We're having some marital problems. I have to find him. Please, I'm begging you to help me." The landlord cut her off. "Why do you assume he left? You out hatred? Could it not be that he simply no longer loves you and wants a divorce?" "Madam, you think far too highly of yourself." And with that, he slammed the door in her face. His words were like a bucket of ice water dumped over her head. Refusing to give up, she began to leverage every contact she had, trying to find any trace of me. But no matter who she called or what she did, she found nothing. It was as if I had simply ceased to exist. She clung to the name Wyatt Cole, like a drowning woman clinging to a piece of driftwood. But it led her nowhere. The private investigator she hired, tired of her constant calls, finally quit the case, refusing even her offers of more money. Ms. Anderson, he told her bluntly over the phone, I have to be honest with you. If someone is determined to hide from you, there's nothing anyone can do. Stop talking, Chloe screamed into the phone. You're just making excuses for your own incompetence. She couldn't bear to hear another word and slammed the phone down, pressing her hands to her temples, lost in her own spiraling thoughts. Just then, her phone rang again. Assuming it was the investigator calling back, she answered angrily. I told you you'll get your money, but it was the voice of her head of security on the other end. Chloe sighed in frustration. What is it? I told you I don't want to hear anything about Leo. The man's voice was hesitant. Ms. Anderson, there was a complication during the procedure. Leo is bleeding heavily. The situation is critical. What are your orders? Chloe's voice was flat. How much did he pay you to make this call? I don't understand what you mean, Ms. Anderson, the man said, his voice trembling slightly. Fine, don't admit it, Chloe snapped. Tell him to stop playing these pathetic games. I don't care if he lives or dies. Then she added, actually, don't bother with him anymore. Just ship him off to Southeast Asia. I hear they're always looking for new talent in the clubs over there. The security chief felt a chill run down his spine. Yes, ma'am. I'll see to it immediately. He never imagined she was capable of such madness. And just like that, Leo Vance disappeared from the face of the earth. Chloe remained lost in her grief. She blocked every call that came from her company. Eventually, the calls stopped coming altogether and rumors of a corporate takeover began to circulate. But she didn't care. She remained in Europe chasing ghosts. Her visa eventually expired. The British police, having concluded that I had disappeared voluntarily, officially closed my case. She tried to pressure them to continue, but she had little influence in a foreign country. Even the police back home were no longer willing to help. Defeated, Chloe returned home with a heavy heart. She locked herself in our bedroom and refused to come out. The staff, seeing her utter despair, didn't dare to disturb her and simply continued to run the household as I had instructed them to. But when she stopped eating, refusing to even touch the meals they left outside her door, they grew worried. After 2 days, fearing the worst, they called her parents. It was only then that her parents learned of everything that had happened. Mortified, but unable to abandon their daughter, they rushed to the house. When she wouldn't answer their knocking, they had the staff break down the door. They found Chloe kneeling on the floor in front of the small jewelry box, muttering to herself, completely oblivious to their presence. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Her mother asked gently, but Chloe didn't seem to hear her. She just kept whispering to the box. A chill went through everyone in the room. Her father cautiously approached her and could finally make out the words she was repeating over and over again. Ethan, I was wrong. Her father slapped her across the face. What good is this doing? He yelled. You had a perfect life, and you threw it all away for this nonsense. The shock of the blow seemed to bring Chloe back to reality. She slowly turned to face them. Dad, Mom, you're here. Do you know where Ethan is? She tried to stand using a nearby table for support, but she was too weak and stumbled, sending everything on the table crashing to the floor. Seeing the dark circles under her eyes and the bruise forming on her chin, her mother burst into tears. Oh, sweetheart, why are you doing this? You have to let him go. Her father, frustrated but unable to bear seeing his daughter like this, softened his tone. Stop torturing yourself. Instead of this, you should be looking after your company. He had heard the rumors. The stock price was in free fall and they had lost several major contracts because of the scandal. The company was failing, but Chloe wasn't listening. Her voice was a hoarse rasp. Who says this is useless? If I'm sincere enough, Ethan will forgive me. I know he will. Seeing the unhinged look in her eyes, her mother began to sob. What are we going to do with her? Honey, you have to do something. Her father grabbed her by the shoulders. Chloe, snap out of it. He tried to pull her away from the box so the staff could remove it. But despite not having eaten in days, she had a surprising amount of strength. No one touches my ring, she screamed, fighting him off like a wild animal. In the struggle, the sleeve of her robe was pushed up, revealing a series of cuts on her arm. Some old and faded, some terrifyingly new. Her mother saw the marks and let out a wail of despair. She's really lost her mind, hasn't she? Maybe we can find Ethan. Convince him to see her one last time. Her father shook his head, his voice heavy with sadness. She's the one who betrayed him. Why would he ever come back? After much deliberation, her father signed her up to appear on a popular TV show that helped people find lost loved ones. When Chloe heard there was a chance this might reach me, she unblocked her assistant number and for the first time in months made a business call. The assistant was overjoyed to hear from her. MS. Anderson, it's so good to hear from you. The company has been. Chloe cut her off. I don't care about the company. I'm going to be on a television program. I need the PR department to promote it. I want you to invest in the show to make sure it airs as soon as possible. I'm going to apologize to Ethan and ask him to give me another chance. Chloe continued to give instructions, but her assistant was in shock. Ms. Anderson, have you considered what this will do to the rest of us? The company's reputation will be destroyed. What about our jobs? What does that have to do with me? Chloe replied. The only thing that mattered was what she wanted. The assistants. Heart went cold. Is there anything else, Miss Anderson? Yes, Chloe added after the show airs. I want the video of my apology posted on the company website and promoted on every major social media platform globally. It is imperative that he sees how sorry I am. Do you understand? Chloe was as arrogant and demanding as ever. She had no idea that the entire company was on the verge of mutiny, that everyone had long since lost all respect for her. Her assistant had been about to tell her, but now she saw it was pointless. Yes, M. Anderson, she said, her voice flat and devoid of its usual respect. I'll take care of it. Chloe, of course, didn't notice the change in her tone. She threw herself into preparing for the show. She wrote draft after draft of her speech, rehearsing it at home for hours on end, determined to deliver the most sincere, heartfelt plea to win me back. On the day of the taping, she stood before a national television audience, and with tears streaming down her face, she looked into the camera and spoke to me. I'm so sorry I broke my promise. I failed to honor the vows I made to you. But please, you have to believe me. You're the only one I have ever truly loved. Please just come home. She had used simple, direct words, refusing her father's offer to have a professional speechwriter polish her apology. All she wanted was for her raw, genuine emotion to reach me. For the first few days, her assistant did as she was told. The video of her apology was everywhere online. But 3 days later, things changed. First, the company's official website went dark. Then, all the ads featuring her apology were replaced with other promotions. It was as if it had never happened. Chloe called her assistant furious, but before she could get a word out, the assistant launched into a tirade of her own. Ms. Anderson, I assume that since you've completely abdicated your responsibilities, you no longer cared what happened to the company. To be honest, things have been chaotic here for a long time. Luckily, for all of us, your main competitor has agreed to acquire what's left. The reality of her situation finally hit. Chloe, she was about to lose everything. What about my shares? She asked, her voice small. The assistant's reply was cold and final. The company was sold after filing for bankruptcy. Your shares are worthless. And then the line went dead. Chloe was stunned, but not completely broken. She still had a substantial personal fortune, more than enough to continue her search for me. She kept her phone on at all times, desperate for any news, but the money disappeared faster than she could have imagined. She didn't find me, but she did find an endless stream of scammers. Each one claimed to have information about me, but they would only share it for a price. She paid every one of them, no matter how outrageous the demand. The money poured out of her accounts until one day there was nothing left. After that, even the scammers stopped calling. She remained in the vast, empty mansion, a tomb for her old life, whispering apologies to the melted piece of platinum. Another month passed before her body finally gave out. She collapsed and was found by the remaining staff, who rushed her to the hospital. Her parents, numb with worry, took over her care. She had lost everything, and they were all she had left. After a thorough examination, her doctor spoke to them with a grave expression. You need to prepare yourselves. Your daughter is suffering from extreme psychological distress. She's been through a severe trauma, and her condition is critical. If she continues to decline, she may become a danger to herself. The news struck her parents like a physical blow, but they knew they had no other choice. To save their only child, they sold their own home to pay for her to be admitted to a private long-term care facility. The once powerful Chloe Anderson had lost everything. Not that she noticed. In the facility, she spent her days writing the same 4 words on scraps of paper over and over again. Ethan, I was wrong. 4 years passed in the blink of an eye. I now, Wyatt Cole, walked through the park holding my young daughter's hand. This city is beautiful, isn't it? I said to her softly. Look at the tall maple trees and all the golden leaves on the ground. My daughter nodded. Daddy, have you been here before? I shook my head. No, sweetie. This is my first time here, too. But you seem to really like it, Daddy. She said. I smiled. It's all right. I just think it's very pretty. I saw my daughter looking curiously at some other children playing, so I encouraged her to go join them. I sat on a nearby bench to wait for her. The other parents on the benches around me were chatting about local gossip. Did you hear about that famous CEO, Chloe Anderson? One of them said they say. She's in the state's psychiatric hospital now. The police had to take her in. I heard she was in a private facility before, but she escaped. How does someone like that have a mental breakdown? Another asked. It was probably when her company went bankrupt. The shock must have been too much. That was 4 years ago, the first one replied. My sister works downtown. She saw the whole thing. Apparently, she was just grabbing random men on the street, telling any good-looking guy she could find that he was her husband. She scared one poor kid so badly he called the cops. They spoke about her without a trace of pity, only disdain for her behavior. I listened quietly. It was a story about a stranger. Yet for some reason, it filled me with a vague sense of melancholy. It must have been the autumn air making everything feel a little sad. My daughter, tired from playing, ran over and collapsed against my side. Daddy, when is Mommy coming back? I stroked her hair, about to answer, when a woman with a kind face and a gentle smile walked up to us. She was holding 2 ice cream cones. What's wrong, sweetie? She asked. My daughter threw her arms open and jumped into the woman's embrace. Mommy, my wife handed one of the ice cream cones to me then, scooped our daughter up with one arm, giving her the other cone and reminding her to eat it slowly. I watched the 2 of them, and my wife smiled at me. What are you thinking about? I took her free hand in mine and smiled back, just thinking how happy I'm having you and our daughter here with me. Our little family is going to have a wonderful life together. Yes, we will, she replied, her face glowing with happiness.